2020 జేఈఈ మెయిన్ ఫలితాలలో ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ విద్యార్థుల ప్రభంజనం. ఆల్ ఇండియా అన్ని కేటగిరీస్లు 18, 35, 251, 253, 582, 606, 778, 780, 812, 821, 1031, 1049, 1303, 1575, 1654, 1753, 1754, 1978 ర్యాంకులే కాక మరెన్నో ఉత్తమ ఫలితాలు సాధించిన విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్. ఈ ఫలితాలు సాధించడానికి కారణమైన లెక్చరర్లు మరియు తల్లిదండ్రులకు మా కృతజ్ఞతలు. ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషనల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్.
Hello students, now we are in the discussion about biotechnology. For the last class what we studied here is the tools of recombinant DNA technology. So for the last class we understood how we constructed first recombinant DNA by Herbert Royer and Stanley Cohen using the two important organisms Salmonella and E. coli. Why they have taken these two organisms? Because we understood that E. coli is more closely related to the Salmonella. That's why. So finally they came to the conclusion, yes, it is possible to transfer the DNA from one organism to other organism, and the process is called as recombinant DNA technology. So for the last class, what are the requirements of recombinant DNA technology? We just started. That means tools. Tools means requirements. Requirements of recombinant DNA technology. So the first important one is restriction enzymes. What are the other important requirements? What are the other tools if you take? The second one is nothing but enzymes like DNA polymerase. Let us take. What is the one? DNA polymerase. And also, and even we can remember about DNA ligase. Next one is DNA ligase. Then followed by we need a vector. And the next one is a host organism. So whenever anybody questions that what are the important requirements of recombinant DNA technology, the first and foremost we need enzymes. What enzymes means? Restriction enzyme, DNA polymerase enzyme, DNA ligase, vector as well as the host. Now let us discuss one by one. Let us start with first one called as restriction enzymes. So when we take the restriction enzymes, all of you know it, we already have studied that restriction enzymes, the first and what they have discovered, they discovered two enzymes. What are the two enzymes discovered in the very beginning? One is nothing but methylase. So one enzyme which adds methyl group at the terminal end is called as methylase, and other one is they refer that other one as restriction endonuclease. They refer other one as what? A restriction endonuclease. So one adds methyl group, this adds a methyl group to the terminal end. To the terminal end of DNA. Methylase is an enzyme. They discovered the two enzymes which restricted the growth of bacteriophages. We discussed this point for the last class. Two enzymes observed that they restricted the growth of bacteriophage in E. coli. Growth of bacteriophage in E. coli. So in the very beginning of the experiment, they discovered the two enzymes. These two enzymes together, they are not allowing the bacteriophages to be grown on E. coli. What is bacteriophage? Nothing but virus growing on bacteria. So these two enzymes are not allowing the phage. Phage means virus. Not allowing the phage to grow on bacteria. Which bacteria? E. coli. So when they try to say what are these two enzymes, then they could able to discover they are nothing but methylase and restriction endonuclease. So what is the function of methylase means? They could able to see that this particular enzyme is adding methyl group to the terminal end of DNA. So it is providing energy to the DNA, especially methyl group, especially phosphorus group, wherever you find, they add energy or stability to that particular organism. Here we are talking about DNA, methyl group or phosphate group, they generally provide stability or energy to DNA. Then what about restriction endonuclease? Now this is responsible for cutting the DNA into fragments. This is responsible for cutting DNA into fragments. This is responsible for cutting the DNA into fragments. So it's called as restriction endonuclease. Now they found that this is very, very important because this is responsible for cutting the DNA into fragments. Now let us people started focused mainly on restriction endonuclease because this particular enzyme plays a very important and vital role in recombinant DNA technology. Now let us discuss about restriction enzymes. So if you look at here, the first constructed restriction enzyme, the first constructed RE means restriction enzyme. It's referred it as HIND2, very, very important. Just let me keep star marks here. It's nothing but a HIND2. Okay, the first constructed restriction enzyme, it was given the name as HIND2. HIND2 is nothing but the first identified and constructed restriction enzyme. The first enzyme which is used for cutting of DNA into fragments is nothing but HIND2. Okay, now later this when people saw that what is the function of HIND2, now they observed that HIND2 is cutting the DNA, responsible for cutting DNA at specific sites. Cutting the DNA at a specific site. Responsible for cutting the DNA at specific site. So they thought that there is some specific site where that particular site itself where HIND2 will do the function, where that particular site only is going and cutting all the time. So there is a specific site for cutting DNA for a particular specific enzyme, restriction enzyme called HIND2. So they observed that HIND2 can be responsible for cutting the DNA at a particular site. And this particular site itself is called as recognition site. Itself is called as what? Recognition site. What is the meaning of recognition site on DNA? This particular enzyme will identify a particular site to make the cut on DNA. That particular site is called as what? Specific site. Itself is called recognition site on DNA. So for example, if I take, this is DNA. Such a big lengthy DNA contains millions of genes or we call codons and are present. Now this HIND2 is responsible for cutting the DNA at a specific site from here to here. Now this specific site, what is cutted by HIND2, this itself is called as recognition site for HIND2, or we call it as a specific site to make a cut on DNA by restriction endonuclease, or itself are called as what? Restriction enzymes. So for every fragment we need a specific restriction enzyme. So like that, to make the cuts at different positions, at different sites, at different recognition sites on DNA, people have going on discovered a different type of restriction enzymes which can cut only at different specific sites on DNA so that they get number of DNA fragments. Now together if you look at all over the world together, nearly approximately 900 restriction enzymes. Wherever I write RE is nothing but what? Restriction enzyme. Today, different scientists extracted 900 restriction enzymes are isolated from 230 strains of bacteria. 230 different strains of bacteria. So restriction enzymes we are trying to extract from the prokaryotic cell. That's nothing but bacteria. So number is quite important for all of us to remember. So in genetic engineering, in biotechnology, we are going on discovering different type of restriction enzymes from different type of bacteria. Nearly today in the entire world at different places, today our scientists, they already extracted 900 different types of restriction enzymes which are being isolated from 230 strains of bacteria. So from 230 different strains of bacteria, from different types of bacteria, today the world has approximately 900 restriction enzymes. This is very, very important. Now, once if you know 900 restriction enzymes and 230 strains of bacteria, now once they identify, once they discover the restriction enzyme, so they have to give name to that particular restriction enzyme. So next is the people have concentrated on, so I'll just continue like this. So the people have concentrated on a nomenclature of restriction enzymes. Now people have concentrated on nomenclature of restriction enzymes. Means they try to give name to the identified or discovered or isolated restriction enzyme. Wherever I write RE says it's a restriction enzyme. So the best example what I can give you here is nothing but, so let me write here very clearly. The best example for this enzyme, 230 different strains of bacteria from which we extracted 900 restriction enzymes. So for this, to support this point, let us take for example EcoR1. EcoR1 is extracted from, meaning it is isolated from EcoR1 13. It is isolated from EcoR1 13. That means what here? EcoR1 is nothing but a type of restriction endonuclease. It is being isolated from the bacteria or the strain EcoR1 13. Okay, just for example, different restriction enzymes are isolated from different strains of bacteria when you take. So we have EcoR1 isolated from EcoR1 13. So what is this EcoR1? Now let us see that they have given this name based upon the rules followed by nomenclature. What is nomenclature? Giving names to this is called as nomenclature. For example, if you take in this case, this is like how you find here in this case. Here E is, let us take one small table what I can give you. Here it is nothing but description. Here I will give you description, meaning and abbreviation. Okay, so small table. For our example, what is that we have written? First one is description, meaning, abbreviation. So if you take E means here it speaks about Escherichia. That's nothing but genus name. That means E is the first letter. That refers to Escherichia. That refers to what? Genus name. Next is CO. Next is what? CO. Second letter is what? CO. CO refers to, the meaning for this is coli. So C should be capital. Coli. It's nothing but, second letter indicates the species name. First letter E indicates, so here if you want you can write first letter in the restriction enzyme name. The first letter indicates genus and second and third letters. Let us take second letter that indicates the species name. Eco or E. coli. Let us take Eco. Let us take R. R is nothing but name of the strain and EcoR1. Right. So here we can take this R is nothing but strain of bacteria of bacterium. 1 represents identification of enzyme. Identification of enzyme with the serial order. With the serial order. Identification of enzyme with the serial order. So here if you take, this is nothing but restriction enzyme. Restriction enzyme has given a particular name based on the rules and regulations. So in this, suppose I extracted a one particular restriction enzyme from different strain of bacteria, let us imagine. Now in the E represents Escherichia, that is a genus name and that's the first letter. Similarly, second letter if you take O, C-O, represents the meaning is coli, it indicates a species name. Similarly, R is nothing but, the meaning for this R is nothing but strain, and this is nothing but strain of a particular bacteria. Which bacteria we will write here generally. 1, Roman number 1 indicates, this 1 is for identification of organism, that 1 represents with the serial order. So once from this strain, for example from one bacteria, they have extracted 3 restriction enzymes. Restriction enzyme 1, 2, 3. So first enzyme is given 1, second enzyme is given 2, third enzyme is 3. Suppose if I talk about Roman number 2, that is nothing but identification of the enzyme with the serial order. That is second enzyme identified from that particular strain of the bacteria. So first letter indicates genus, second letter indicates species, the third letter indicates strain of the bacteria from which it is isolated, and 1 indicates what is called as identification of the serial order of that particular enzyme. This is how they have given name. Similarly, if you come to eco-arbite, so here also you can write the same. Eco-arbite is what? Restriction enzyme. Eco-arbite is restriction enzyme. Isolated from where? Eco-arbite again. So if I talk about eco-arbite, eco-arbite 13. What do I say? Same. E is for Escherichia, that is nothing but genus name. Co represents, this is C should be small letter. Co is nothing but coli, that is a species name. RY, it is nothing but a name of the strain, name of the bacterial strain. BA means bacteria. It is nothing but name of the bacterial strain. And 13 is nothing but a serial order of the enzyme. 13 is nothing but what? A serial order of that particular enzyme. So this is how eco-arbite is isolated from eco-arbite 13. So different organisms, bacteria, they play a vital role in giving a different type of restriction enzymes which we used for cutting different fragments of DNA at different locations. And each location, for each site, for each recognition site, we have a specific restriction endonuclease. Suppose if I want to make the cut between a valine and glutamine. So valine, it's an amino acid. Maybe that ends with G, something like GG, AGG. That ends with G. Glutamine is something like C, G and A. So if I want to make the cut between G and C, what you can see? G and C, or you can take any example. So in between G and C, simply if G and C is there, in between it will not cut. In between restriction enzyme will not cut. It should be a valine and it should be a glutamine. It should be a valine, it should be a glutamine. Then only it will make one cut. Restriction endonuclease will make one cut. And further, totally it inspects the length of the DNA. Wherever G and C is there, it will not make a cut. If it is valine G and glutamine G, it will cut. Like that, DNA is made into number of fragments with the help of the first important tool of recombinant DNA technology. That's nothing but what we say, restriction enzyme. So when we say restriction enzymes plays very important role. Why? Because if I isolate the DNA out of the organism, from the source organism, where I have to make a cut because I want to take the required DNA I want to cut the DNA. Now I want this particular DNA from here to here. How to cut? This is possible again with the help of restriction endonuclease. Right? So to identify desired DNA is the first step. What are the steps we studied for the last class? After people, Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen, the moment they constructed first recombinant DNA. Okay, the moment they constructed first recombinant DNA, what did they identify? Okay, this is possible. Restriction enzyme can cut the DNA at a particular site. So after they constructed successfully first recombinant DNA, they have given 3 steps. For the last class we studied. What is the first step? We need to identify where the desired DNA is present. I want a particular desirable character. This is the source organism. Maybe this is source bacteria. In this total genome, where are the genes which I am in need of? That is identification, searching of genes, desired genes on a DNA is very important and the first most step. If that is achieved, then we add restriction enzyme to make a specific cut on DNA. We can take this DNA and that can be introduced into the host organism. That is second step. Third is maintenance of the host to undergo multiplication so that DNA can be transferred into progeny cells. Very important. So guys, before I just go to the next part, so just let us quickly revise it. When you take the tools of recombinant DNA technology, later we are going to study total process of recombinant DNA technology. So before we study that, what are the important tools? Tools means what? We say we take the tools are nothing but what? Requirements. What are tools? Tools are nothing but what? Requirements. When we take the tools here, the tools of recombinant DNA technology are nothing but first and foremost we need restriction enzymes, then we need DNA polymerase, DNA ligase, vector, host. Now we need to discuss one after the other in detail. Let us start with the restriction enzymes. Already for the last class we studied 2 enzymes are being identified by the scientists which are restricting, meaning not allowing the growth of bacteriophages in DNA, E. coli. And these 2 enzymes they are given name as methylase, first one, and second one is restriction endonuclease. Why they have given methylase? Because it will add methyl group to the terminal end of DNA. This particular enzyme playing a vital role in the addition of methyl group to the terminal part of DNA. And the other enzymes they found that it is cutting the DNA into number of fragments. So they thought, okay, this might be useful in taking some part of DNA out from the nucleus. So they started digging the soil more and more in doing more research on restriction endonuclease. Restriction endonuclease is nothing but what? Restriction enzymes. The first constructed restriction enzyme is nothing but what? It is a HIND2. What is this? HIND2. It was identified. It can be cutting the DNA at a particular specific site. And this particular site where it will make a particular cut on a specific site on DNA and taking this DNA fragment out, this particular location where it is making the cut itself is called as recognition site on DNA or a specific site for cutting of restriction endonuclease. Already we came to know HIND2 is first constructed restriction enzyme. Restriction enzyme can make the cut at a specific site or that itself is called recognition site. Right? Now, approximately they identified in the very first, it contains nearly, the recognition site it nearly contain 6 base pairs, minimum of 6 base pairs. It cuts minimum of 6 base pairs. Let us take A, G, T, C, A. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minimum 6 base pairs. It will make cut every restriction enzyme. Minimum it will cut with the fragment of minimum 6 base pairs, maximum up to maybe there may be 1000 base pairs, there may be 2000 base pairs. It all depends upon the type of restriction enzyme what we are using in the process. Right? Now here approximately 900 restriction enzymes are being isolated from 230 different strains of bacteria. So today world knows 900 different restriction enzymes. They cut at different site of on DNA and they are being extracted from 230 different types of bacteria. And every time when they discover restriction endonuclease or enzyme, they have to give name. How naming is given? According to the nomenclature rules. Nomenclature means giving name to the bacteria. The nomenclature of restriction in enzymes is nothing but the first letter in the name E is a different represents the genus name, that is Escherichia. That is first letter. Second two letters, second and third letters, if you take, it should be small letters. CO, second letter, coli, that represents a species name. R is nothing but the strain of the bacteria. 1 is nothing but identification of the enzyme with the serial order. So first is description, that is EcoR1. Meaning, what is E4, what is CO4, R4, 1,4, that is meaning. Abbreviation, that represents what? First, second letters, and then by R, then by Roman numbers. Roman number indicates which is the serial order of this particular enzyme, which is extracted from a particular strain of bacteria. So we take example EcoR1. EcoR1 is isolated from EcoR13. So if you look at EcoR13, E is for Escherichia, CO is for coli, RY is for name of bacterial strain, and 13 is nothing but serial order of that particular enzyme. So let us continue further here. Now, we are discussing about restriction enzymes. Now, these restriction enzymes, they belong to a large class called nucleases. It belongs to the larger class called nucleases. So, it belongs to nucleases. Very important. Okay, so restriction enzymes, what we are discussing, what is the most important tool of recombinant DNA technology. Now this restriction enzymes, they belong to a larger class called nucleases. So this is nothing but one of the large class of the enzymes, nucleases. Our restriction enzymes will fall into the larger class called nucleases. Now if you look at nucleases, and nucleases, it is of two types. It is of how many types? It is of generally two types, categorized into two types. What are they? They are referred as exonucleases and endonucleases. Referred as exonucleases and endonucleases. So I repeat, this point is important. Restriction enzymes belong to the larger class of enzymes called nucleases. So these nucleases, they are of two types. They are called as exonucleases. It's first category, and then other one is called as endonucleases. So if you take exo and endonucleases, now why do we call and why do we differentiate as exonucleases and endonucleases? Now if you look at exonucleases, here they cut DNA at terminal ends. They cut the DNA at the terminal ends. They cut the DNA exactly at the terminal ends. That's why they are called as what? Exonucleases. Similarly, if you take endonucleases, here endonucleases, they cut the DNA at a specific site. At a specific site within the DNA. Wherever the specific site is there to cut the DNA, within that it will make the cut. So, endonucleases cut the DNA at a specific site within the DNA. So, this is very important. So, it makes the cutting of DNA at one particular corner or maybe the single stranded corners. Okay, or here if you take this they may cut DNA at one particular strand, and especially at the terminal ends. Especially at the terminal ends, if you look at, we'll come back to this point. But before that, let me tell you, exonucleases cannot cut RNA. So this is very, very important. Exonuclease does not cut RNA. Meaning exonucleases does not cut RNA. They will not cut RNA. Whereas endonucleases, they are responsible for, even they cuts RNA along with DNA. Endonucleases responsible for cutting of RNA. Endonucleases cuts RNA along with the DNA, but exonuclease does not cut RNA. Now, if you look at very, very importantly, when we take exonucleases here, what happens? Now, if you take, this is a DNA. Let us imagine this is a particular DNA. Now, here this is a terminal part. So, let us take, this is from 5' to 3', and this is from 3' to 5'. Now, if you look at the action of endonucleases will make the cutting of DNA. So, for example, front view if you take A double bond with T, G triple bond with C. So, what you can see on the front side? Hydrogen bonds. What you can see on the front side? Hydrogen bonds. Now, let us come to the backbone structure. What you see now, suppose if you think this is exonucleases, it will cut at the terminal point. Now, this is a terminal part. This goes away. Right? It cuts at the terminal part. From here to here, this is terminal part. Exonucleases cut at terminal ends. So, this is a terminal part. This is a terminal part. It cuts on the terminal parts. Who? Exonucleases. How do you think it cuts on the terminal part here? For example, here it is making the cut. Suppose, if you look at backbone structure, this is nitrogen base pair. Now, it is joined with sugar. S is for sugar. Then, it contains phosphorus. What you call this? Nitrogen base, sugar, phosphorus. What we call this? This is called one nucleotide. Did you remember we studied in biomolecules? This is called a nucleotide. Right? Similarly, for example, if you take this particular opposite strand of DNA, let us imagine this is having T here, C here. Let us imagine. So, opposite strand also has nitrogen base pair. That also contains the sugar that is joined with phosphorus. So, this is another nucleotide. Nitrogen base, sugar, phosphorus. This is called one nucleotide. Here also nitrogen base, sugar, phosphorus. This is called another nucleotide. So, this is one nucleotide. This is another nucleotide. One nucleotide ends with phosphorus. Same phosphorus connected to the other nucleotide. So, where exactly exonuclease is breaking? If the exonuclease is breaking at the backside of this, or in the last terminal part, if it cuts exactly at the phosphorus. So, it removes phosphorus. It removes P. P means what? Phosphorus. Means where it is responsible for cutting, it cuts at backbone structure. It cuts at exactly at backbone structure. What is the backbone structure here? The backbone structure for this is nothing but nitrogen base, sugar, phosphorus. Now phosphorus is removed. Sugar having terminal in 5'. This phosphorus is the center. You know it forms phosphodiester bond. This is ester bond. This is also ester bond. Did you remember? What is the bond present between nucleotide, nitrogen base and sugar? What is that bond? It is nothing but N-glycosidic bond. Did you all remember? So I will just draw clearly here so that you can understand what are the things which we have studied earlier. Suppose if you think this is like this. So if you take this is A double bond with T. Let us imagine exonucleases are exactly cutting here the terminal. This part is broken. How? This is having sugar, this is having phosphorus, and also has sugar, and this is connected with nitrogen base pair. So what is a bond present between nitrogen base and sugar? This is called N-glycosidic bond. What do we call this? N-glycosidic bond. And the bond between sugar and phosphorus is nothing but what? Ester bond. We all know it very well. It's called ester bond in biomolecules. First year chapter we have discussed very clearly. So here, if you take from here to here, from nitrogen base, sugar and phosphorus, this is called nucleotide. Now this is one nucleotide. And this nitrogen base present on the opposite strand, nitrogen base, sugar and phosphorus. This is called another 9 nucleotides. So how many nucleotides are present altogether here? There are 2 nucleotides. How 2 nucleotides are connected? Connected by one phosphodiester bond. How do they connect it? They connect it with the help of a one phosphodiester bond. So here, where is the phosphodiester bond? From here. This bond is ester bond. This bond is ester bond. So there are 2 ester bonds. We call diester bonds. And center we find only one phosphorus. One phosphorus with 2 ester bonds. We call one phosphodiester bonds. So the 2 nucleotides are connected by one phosphodiester bond. So if exonuclease is breaking, this is what here it want to break. This is a terminal end. Then where it will break? It removes the phosphorus. When it removes the phosphorus, what happens? When phosphorus is removed here. So here, if this phosphorus is removed, what are the terminals we can find here? If this phosphorus is removed by exonucleases. So this phosphorus is removed by exonucleases. Then what are the terminal end? This sugar having 5th carbon as a terminal end. This sugar having 3rd carbon as a terminal end. That's why DNA lies with from 5' to 3'. Other strand lies with 3' to 5'. You know it very well, right? Why it's called 5th carbon, 3rd carbon. 5th carbon terminal ends with terminal end of 5th carbon will become empty because here it is bonded to phosphorus having ester bond, that is get broken. Here 3rd carbon is connected forming ester bond with the phosphorus, that is broken. So what are the terminal ends will get open? This sugar having 5th carbon is empty and this sugar having 3rd carbon is empty. That's why we say 5' and 3'. So here it cuts. Exonucleases cut the DNA at the terminal ends, okay, and does not cut RNA. If you look at DNA front view, you can see in the front what you find. In front view, totally you find hydrogen bonds. Right? Front view you can find totally hydrogen bonds. Then exonucleases removes the phosphorus. How do they remove the phosphorus? They cut at the backbone structure. So this is front view. This is totally front view. Let us take the C with G, G with C. This is front view. Front view you find with all are nothing but hydrogen bonds. Exonucleases cuts at the terminal end by removing the phosphorus. It removes the phosphorus out. That's why here it makes the cutting at the terminal end. So the 2 helices will get open. The 2 helices will get open by removing the phosphorus because it cuts at the backbone structure. They are called as what? Exonucleases. Then what are endonucleases? Cut DNA at a specific site within the DNA and they are also responsible for cutting of RNA. Now if you look at this case here, now this is such a big lengthy part of DNA. Such a big lengthy part of DNA. Now let us take this is a site where it will make the cut. So it is making the cut. That's why it's called as what? The restriction endonuclease. Why it is called endo? Endo means within the DNA. Endo means within the DNA, not at the terminal sites. Within the DNA. And what you call that site? That site is called a recognition site for that particular restriction enzyme. There is a specific recognition recognition sign for that particular restriction. Endonuclease, endo we call because within the DNA it will cut somewhere its specific sites, and these specific sites are called as a specific recognition sign for that particular restriction, endonuclease. So if you take that part of DNA, now this is exonuclease action. Generally if you take, now where is endonuclease will start? Suppose if you take, let us take this is having A, double bond T and double bond T and G, C, A, T, let us take. So G always combines with C with 3 hydrogen bonds, right? Same thing with C and G. A always combines 2 hydrogen bonds with T, or T always combines with 2 hydrogen bonds with A. Now this is the function of what we discussed. This is the function of what? Exonuclease. Exonuclease cuts at the dominant positions. And what are endonucleases? Endonuclease cuts in between or within the DNA. So this is the action of what we call restriction endonuclease. Restriction endonucleases, they cut at a specific site, not at the terminal ends. They are also responsible for cutting single strand they may cut, or sometimes even they cut double strand. Because why? Because RNA is single stranded. Restriction endonucleases are responsible for cutting single stranded genetic material nucleic acid, or they are also responsible for cutting the double stranded nucleic acids. Because why we are writing single stranded? Because restriction endonucleases are used even for cutting the RNA along with the DNA. Because RNA, some of the RNAs are maybe single stranded RNA and some of the RNAs are maybe a double stranded RNA. Similarly, if you take DNA also in some cases it exists as single stranded DNA, in some cases it exists as a double stranded DNA. So here restriction endonucleases plays a vital role for cutting at a specific site. This specific site is called recognition site. At least minimum it contains 6 base pairs. Minimum of 6 base pairs. That itself is called a specific site, or itself is called as what? Recognition site. Okay, so here these things you have to remember very importantly. Let us continue here. Let me give you a quick revision. Restriction enzymes belong to larger class called nucleases, and these are of 2 types. They are called exonucleases and endonucleases. What is the function of exonucleases? Cuts the DNA at the terminal ends. So if you take, this is the DNA, front view you can see hydrogen bonds. Backbone structure. Exonucleases removes phosphorus, trees nothing but phosphorus, cuts at the backbone structure. So what you can see in this backbone structure, if you look at, this is nitrogen base. It joins with sugar by forming N-glycosidic bond. Sugar combines with phosphorus with ester bond. On the opposite strand, similarly you find nitrogen base, sugar, and the same sugar connected to the same phosphorus here. This is one nucleotide and this is one nucleotide. So here we find 2 nucleotides. One nucleotide on one strand, opposite strand has another nucleotides. For the 2 nucleotides are interconnected by the same phosphorus having 2 ester bonds. This is one ester bond, this is one ester bond. So we call phosphodiester bond. Right? Now when you take this here, now this exonucleases cut exactly at the terminal positions. So here they are not useful for cutting of RNA. Now coming to this endonucleases, they cut the DNA at a specific site within the DNA. Somewhere at one corner for a particular specific site they cut, and that site specific recognition site will be there for every specific restriction endonuclease. Suppose if I want to cut from here to here, I have to use another type of restriction enzyme. If I have to cut from here to here, a different type of restriction endonuclease. Every specific recognition site we have a specific restriction endonuclease. What it will do? It will cut somewhere in the middle of the DNA. So restriction endonucleases are used for cutting the single strand as well as for double strand, because some of the RNAs are single stranded and in some members RNA is double stranded, and they are also used for cutting DNA for single stranded DNA as well as double standard DNA. Each restriction endonuclease minimum it will have specific site of minimum of 6 base pairs, and it extends up to 1000 base pairs or 2000 base pairs, or maybe the as larger the fragment, it may have a good variety of application of a specific restriction endonucleases. So here you have to remember very importantly, restriction enzymes belong to larger called nucleases. Nucleases has two types, exonucleases as well as endonucleases. Next part of it we'll discuss, we'll continue in the next class.
ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.